StarCast is proudly sponsored by DogHouseSystems.com. If you use the code StarCast or Biscuit at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. We thank DogHouseSystems.com for their support of StarCast. Additional support comes from SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Daily quotes from the StarCraft 2 community. The site may suck, but the quotes are sick. It is time for episode 109 of StarCast.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 109 of StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. I am Garrett Weinzierl, and with me, as always today, is Kyle Ferguson. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing exhaustedly. As soon as the show's over, I need to unplug this darn computer and throw it in a box, because I'll be moving this weekend. In fact, I've been so busy that I haven't had any time to really watch anything or play any StarCraft, which, strangely enough, you would think my opinions on the game would lessen, but they have in fact grown tenfold. And I feel like, even though I have played less, I have stronger opinions about balance and who should be playing as a pro gamer.
Okay, then. Good to hear. It's your time away will apparently just make your opinions more distilled and possibly angry. Also joining us today is Noah, better known to a lot of you guys as MoleTrap. Welcome back to the show, Noah. How you doing? It's been a little bit since we last spoke.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I'm doing also exhaustedly. I took my line there a little bit since it's 9 in the morning here in Korea, and I didn't really get much sleep last night, so. But that's okay. I actually would have woken up about this time anyway, because there's a construction project going on next door, and they always start hammering nails and sawing saws and things at about 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Don't you love that?
So,
my neighbors like to mow their lawn around 7 in the morning. When
I
they
hate that.
Decide to. It's like, I have one more hour before I have to get up for work. Could you please refrain?
At least it's construction. Lawn mowing is pretty damn close, but leaf blowing... Like, the grass is growing. Sure, you got to stop it from growing. Okay, I get it. But moving leaves? I don't know.
The worst is when they do it on Sunday morning. Like that guy who always wants to make use of his day off and, like, gets up really early and starts mowing his lawn next door at 7 in the morning or something like that.
Throw open the window. Hey, some of us don't have kids and are irresponsible. We're up all night gaming. Go back to bed.
These Cheetos aren't going to digest themselves. Let me go back to sleep. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, my neighbors just started building a shed, and I'm just like, oh no. And they're new neighbors. But apparently they're awesome new neighbors, because they haven't touched that crap before noon.
Nice.
So that's
nice.
Thank you to my neighbors who do not listen to this show.
So much has changed with you, MoleTrap, since we last spoke. You are now casting LOL, League of Legends. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. I enjoy it a lot, and I really enjoy working on GameNet.
Absolutely, I'm sure. So, what kind of changes that? Because clearly, we don't know too much about LOL. I know quite a bit about Dota 2, but it's different. I hear it's a little more simplistic, sort of. But there's still a billion heroes. It's got to be pretty tough to cast.
Yeah, I think they're actually releasing their 100th hero.
Oh my
champion as they're called, sometime soon, a couple weeks from now or something like that. It's a little bit of a change, that's for sure, because there's a lot of stuff to learn, especially because people kind of like to hear like the names of the abilities and stuff. So there's 100 champions, and each of them have 4 abilities they can use.
Yeah,
and so. That's one of the things I had to do. I actually didn't know all of them. I would say, and he's going to stun that guy. And people would be like, it's not a stun, it's dark binding. And I'm like, okay. So I knew probably half of them anyways, just from playing the game a lot. But I had to go back and, like, memorize. I still don't know all of them, but so I had to spend some time, like, memorizing all the different ability names and that kind of thing.
I've always kind of wondered that. So, was it flashcards? Like, how do you sit down and have to learn a game to that degree?
I love the idea of sitting down with your friend for any game, not just League of Legends, just having like game flashcards like Mutalisk, Baneling, A move. Like, what do you... Anyways, continue.
I don't know. I guess the equivalent would be stuff like, learning what the armor is on a roach, and what the exact attack damage is on a banshee, and how it fires 2 shots. Those little details. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
an odd instance where you took a surprising amount of heat for not knowing that it takes 2 banelings to destroy a baneling or something like that.
Yeah, it's... I get crap for little details like that a lot, both in StarCraft and League of Legends, and it's like, okay, well, I do get about 99% things right about the little details, but every once in a while I just don't, it's almost impossible to know every little thing. So, anyway, it's alright.
Yeah, what do you mean people on the internet like to nitpick? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The problem with people on the internet is they forget they're on the internet, where they have access to all this information. They're not live casting some event.
Yeah, it's not like when you're casting the GSL or something that you can just start tacking away on your keyboard like, oh crap, how much does a roach do? It's not possible, man. It's just not possible.
Well, especially when it's, something like, I heard someone else say it, and they're like, oh yeah, this happens, and I blew up all of his banelings with one of my banelings, and I'm like, I don't even think about it. It just kind of registers in my mind, and then I say it, and people are like, it's not 2, it's not 1, it's 2, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but so I've gotten a little bit of that in League of Legends as well, actually. Stuff like not knowing tiny little details and names of things, and so. But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's been
altogether a good experience.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good transition over, and I mean, I want to emphasize, I guess, that I haven't switched from StarCraft. I've just added on League of Legends, so I'm still doing a little StarCraft casting on YouTube and stuff, and I'm hopefully going to be doing some more tournament casting pretty soon.
Almost certainly.
Pro League, possibly?
Maybe, we'll see. I'm kind of hoping to do Pro League, but nothing's for sure on that yet.
Yeah,
so.
You were a big Brood War fan, so have you?
Yeah.
Now that you're working for ONG, do you get to go and watch the games?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. Months ago, I mean, when I first got to Korea, that's one of the things I wanted to do. I was a Brood War fan, so I went and watched Brood War games both at the NBC Game Studio, watched the MSL. I went to the OSL studio, or the OGN studio, watched Pro League, stuff like that. And there was one time when I wanted to talk to the Korean casters and be like, so I went up to one of them one time and was like, oh, hey, I tried to, like, speak a little bit of, like, very simple English, and he actually ended up knowing a decent amount of English, so it worked out okay. But I was basically said, I've been watching you for years, I'm a fan of yours, I'm also a caster, and, et cetera, et cetera. And he was really nice, and he said, oh, it's great to meet you. I hope we can work together someday. He said that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And at one point in time, though, I was trying to stay after to, like, talk to him or some, I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but the usher guy basically kicked me out of the studio because I was staying there too long, and they needed to, like, clean things up, and I wasn't supposed to be there. So this usher guy kicked me out of the studio, and fast forward 8 months or 10 months or something like that, he has to keep other people out, and he, like, nods to me as I come in, and he's like, oh, okay, you work here or whatever. And so, I don't know, it was just funny to, like, my first week working there, hanging around beforehand, he was keeping other people out, and I was like, you kicked me out of here one time, and now you're kind of my underling in a way,
That's always
Not
fun.
really, but,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's been really
memories.
cool. It's been cool to basically work at the side of the old OSL, and yeah, I go to the, I went to the Pro League on the first day actually, and the camera people and everyone knew me, so I could, like, hang around backstage, and they didn't kick me out or anything like that, and so it's kind of fun.
That's awesome. Well, you're certainly making quite a few of us jealous with your tweets being like, oh, internet's out. I guess I'll have to go to the studio now. We're like, oh darn it, MoleTrap.
Hey, move to Korea, man. It's it's that easy.
Oh yeah, moving to Korea. That's in the dictionary next to easy.
So, how long have you been living in Korea now?
About I guess I could say about a year because I first got here last April, but then I flew back to the States for a couple months and then came back in August. So
Okay. So,
it's been I've been in total about a year.
and throughout that, you've not had to learn too much Korean, it seems.
Chogum. I've learned a little bit of Korean. I haven't learned as much as I wanted to, or as much as a lot of other people, because I, work with people that speak English, and I go home and I go online and I talk to my friends that speak English. So I haven't really been forced to learn a lot of Korean. The Korean I do know, like when people visit me, I had my dad visit a couple months ago. I had some friends visit a few months before that. They all think I know Korean because I go out to restaurants with them and I can order. Like, bibimbap 하나 주세요. 하고 사이다 둘개. And like they're like, "Oh my God, you know Korean? That's so cool." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I know food names in Korean, but that's about it."
Don't they know the golden rule? If you move anywhere that isn't your native language, the first thing you pick up is food because that's how you survive.
Yeah.
That and bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I've learned enough Korean for that, and so I'm fluent in travel Korean, I guess you could say. I know how to get a room, and well, not fluent actually, but I've traveled all around Korea, and so I know how to get a hotel room and ask where things are and simple stuff like that. But
That's good.
otherwise, no, I don't know too much Korean. I'm learning more. I want to learn more.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. It's good to hear you're doing well. So how's the experience been? Has there been any big difference you've noticed between working for OnGameNet? I realize I said ONG before. It's OGN. I'm a moron. So before people start correcting me, I'm aware. I caught myself. Is there any difference between working for OGN and as opposed to GOM?
OnGameNet seems to be a much more I don't know. It's just kind of a bigger production. I mean, OGN is their TV station. GOM TV is all online, and so it's not quite as big of a production facility. The studio is also bigger too. So I don't know. It just seems like not to take anything away from the people who work at GOM TV because they are really good at what they do. But I think OGN's like a little bit more elaborate. More. Assistant directors on the side controlling different cameras on different things, and just more cameras going on, switching back and forth. Just kind of a more professional production, I guess. Is what I've
sure,
noticed.
bigger.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's like I can't think of a good analogy, but I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, cool stuff, man. You met anyone cool? I'm sure you've obviously met a lot of people you've been a fan of. Is anyone in particular, any run-ins where you're just like, yes, I can die happy now?
Well, I had a few of those, months ago, obviously, and over the past several months I've been working at GSL.
I've been dead for months.
I've been dead for months, exactly. No, I mean, I got to meet Boxer. I actually got to be on the Off the Record show. I got to interview Nada, who is one of my favorite players of all time. May his career rest in peace, or hopefully be resurrected.
Yeah, once he's done with his military career. I think MC might break him out though. MC seems pretty ticked about it, and after seeing his performance in GSL this week, I think he might just like bust into the freaking Korean military and take Nada with him.
Is MC a Nada fan? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about this.
MC had a tweet that said, Nada is my hero. F the Korean military system. That was something we brought up very briefly last week. I thought it was.
I see. I hadn't read that tweet.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest MC fan myself, so don't follow him too closely.
Thank you. I don't either. I just thought it was an interesting tweet.
Yeah, but no, I mean I've met a lot of cool people, and I mean I still I have to admit, I still geek out a little bit. Like I said, I went to Pro League, and I was kind of backstage, and Samsung Khan walked by, and I was like, you know, I kept it cool. I kept it together. I didn't outwardly make any reactions, but inside I was like, oh my god, it's Stork! You know?
You didn't raise your hand and scream like the thing.
Girl. I squealed like a little girl in my heart when Stork walked by. But
man, that's great.
I don't. This being in Korea, it's generally been a kind of a crazy experience for that kind of thing, though. I mean, it's like it's been weird to. It's been weird to like get to know some of the people that I saw on TV, you know, online for years, and some of them I actually know, and you know, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a strange thing to realize that they're just people too, and it's something that I've also kind of experienced myself because I have people come up to me at events and be like, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" And I'm like, "Why do you want my autograph? Like, I'm just a guy who just does stuff," and so it's the same sort of thing, you know. So it's been interesting to me on both sides of that, I guess, and just to realize that, you know, famous people are people too, I guess, in a way. So
yes, like the famous children's storybook, Everybody Poops.
yeah, just like that.
I just keep that in my head anytime I meet someone super famous.
Good.
I'm
sure they'd like that.
Oh yeah. I met Eddie Murphy at a coffee shop once when I lived in LA. Which is
coffee.
The thing that confused me, or I was most surprised about, was that Eddie Murphy actually gets his own coffee. I would assume he would have people for that.
Yeah. Once you've had an encounter or two like that, you kind of realize it, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, not a big deal. Then.
Granted, he left in a convertible Bentley with like 24-inch rims on it, so still had the star power thing going. But yeah, that was an interesting run-in. So, anyways, there was a lot of games this week. I don't know if you guys.
But no big like final events. Nothing really ended this week, which is why it kind of had that weird sort of like, where are we in this odd in-between?
Yeah, this was like the esports crescendo this week. Everything was like in its round of 16, just kind of building up towards a final or a semifinal. Well, that, and then you have the TSL qualifiers, which is just leading up to a tournament in general. But
well, and because of this, like, people are finding time to reflect. There's not all this, you know, there's not a big hubbub, a single event that everyone's watching, kind of focused on. And
right.
Man, the egos getting thrown around, you know, Team Liquid and Reddit were really getting me down. I mean, some people are calling each other out. I saw a full, like, PDF of all of In Control's failures posted this week. Made it to the front page of the StarCraft Reddit.
Yeah, dude, I saw that too. That's, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm biased because I think In Control's a pretty cool dude. But I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, and I'd love to get both your opinions on this, but I don't really know how to take this because this is fact. This is, like, that thing showed fact. Sure, I mean, the fact that he tweeted 4 days after, you know, I'm going to try really hard to win this MLG, and then 4 days later he said he loves Gears of War. Who cares?
It's like, for a gamer, that's like saying, you know, oh, hey, I saw a cool movie. Like, how dare you take any time away whatsoever from doing your profession? It'd be like if I had graphic design 24/7 and people would just hate on me because I watched a TV show.
But at the same time, we don't see this kind of strong star power in Korea. I mean, we do, but the stars are constantly being changed out.
Right. And
the people who stay on top are the people who win on top. So I'm not really sure what to think of this anymore. Any opinions on your side, MoleTrap? I mean, you've been watching Brood War. You've seen lots of players come and go. I'm sure you've had some players that you've loved and just you never heard from again.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's it's funny. I was just the other day, I was hanging out at OGN, and they have this wall of, like, you know, the Hall of Fame or whatever of everyone that's won the OSL, and I was just kind of looking over it, and I noticed some fun things about it. Like, Savior's picture has actually been taken off. Like, they still have his name. They still have his name there, but the picture's been taken off. And so that was interesting. But then there was this like player there. It was like, you know, Jelizer, Gnata, IOI, Bisu, or something like that. And I was like, what the, huh? And I had to look up his name again, and it's actually Casey was his name that I knew him better by. And have you guys ever heard of Casey? Probably not.
No.
Because he was just a one-hit wonder, and that happens sometimes. There's still personalities in Brood War, definitely. I mean, Boxer has not won anything in 8 years, 7 years, or something like that, but he's still notable. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what to think about it, Kyle, I mean, like, it depends on what you put stock in. I mean, obviously, if all you care about is what a player's win record is, then that's I guess that's it. You're probably not going to be a huge In Control fan, but I don't look at In Control as like that's not what I like. I don't want to judge people, but like I can't think of a better way to like describe this. That's not how I judge his worth. The guy does so much for the scene. He does so much to get new sponsors and host events and just hypes things up. The guy is a hype machine. Nobody hype shit like In Control hype shit. And I don't know. And also I've had a chance to meet the guy. I've talked to him quite a few times, and he's just a super cool dude. And I know he would give everything to help esports grow, which at the end of the day, to me, is the important part. It's how genuinely do you love esports, and on that merit, I don't think there's really any crap to give In Control, because it's trolls, man. It's trolls.
That's valid. I mean,
we're currently feeding the trolls.
Yeah. Well, I've got some information to feed the trolls with, actually. A random bit of factoid I learned this past week. When you win, your body releases, endorphins. It releases adrenaline, and it releases testosterone into your body. And when men win, they receive 10 times the amount of testosterone that a female receives when she wins. So that could answer the reason why there aren't many female gamers, because they aren't addicted to the sweet chemicals that are produced inside my brain and balls.
No comment.
I'm going to stand behind your scientific study of this situation. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
So I'm going to put a little bit of a positive light on this, because here's the thing: is In Control, apparently someone's got. I didn't actually see this at all, but if someone has gone to the trouble of like nitpicking, like he did this and then said this or whatever, like if someone's gone to the trouble, that means someone was so like interested in him. And what's that?
You broke up there for a moment.
Oh, sorry about
that.
Back
up about 5 words.
We lost you at interested in.
Yeah, someone was so interested in him that they actually had to like look all that stuff up. Like no one just knew off the top of their head. What someone freaking went through his tweet history or something and like analyzed it. And that's
a good point.
Means that like he's a big enough deal that someone's going to do that. Like that's the kind of thing that real, movie stars have to worry about. So, I don't have to worry about anyone doing that for me. Like people make fun of something I say on a cast, but like no one's like tracking down my email address and sending me, I don't know. Someone once told me it's kind of a bittersweet thought, I guess, but someone once told me if someone is hating on you, then it means you're important enough to be hated on. So, it's like, well, I guess that's true. And the other side of it is that how pathetic of a human being are you going to be to spend your time like someone spent their time going out of their way. They could have been playing a game or bettering themselves, but instead they were spending their time like researching in order to tear someone down. Like that is just like pathetic. It's funny because sometimes I'll get those tweets. People are like, "Oh, you said this wrong," blah blah blah. And sometimes I'll go to their Twitter history, and everything they've ever said on Twitter was something horrible about someone. And it's like, how sad of a human being are you that that's what you spend your time doing, is just like feeling bad about other people. So in the end, you just kind of have to be like, well, I'm sorry, sir or ma'am, that you are lame, but it's something you're gonna have to deal with. I don't particularly want to.
I'm sorry that you are a sad individual.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I can come up with is that they're stuck at work where they can't play, so they have to complain about something. But why dethrone someone who doesn't really have a job that's looking for a replacement? You don't go, I'm better, I play better, I could coach that team better. And they go, yes, of course. Let's fire In Control and get you in this house to take care of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't get it. And to the guy in the chat room, I don't want In Control's dick. I think he's a nice guy. Besides, IdrA's so much cuter.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's interesting. The freaking trolls. I'll move on. I'll leave it at that. Trolls. NASL Season 3 Round of 16 happened this week. This is when NASL, I think, really starts to gear up, starts to get really, a lot easier to follow and gets really exciting. It was last week, I think, Kyle, we mentioned that NASL, we kind of agreed on is one of the harder tournaments to follow.
Oh, certainly. And in fact, this past week, Huck kind of ruined things because there's this delay and you can't talk about your games, but he made a Facebook post that was like, oh man, wish I did better. So everyone's like, whoa, you're not allowed to talk about it.
Whatever. It happens.
Well, it comes with that territory of of these games not being live, the story's hard to follow, and it's all replays that are being cast.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
did he actually lose, or was it just like, nope, I wish I'd owned him harder?
I'm not entirely sure. I just remember seeing that, that Huck spilled the beans.
Yeah, well, he moved on. I know that much. So we will see Huck going to the finals in Canada, which just excites the hell out of me. Could you imagine how awesome that would be if Huck won NASL in Canada?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do Canadians riot? Maybe our buddy Joel Duggan can answer that for me. I'm not sure if they have riots in Canada. They seem way too laid back up there.
I hear they go on strike.
They go on strike. Are you referencing a South Park episode? Or
I love every single Canadian South Park episode. Those are my favorite.
They are pretty good. They are pretty freaking funny. Party in the chat room says, I'm Canadian, we don't really riot. Okay, cool. Good to know that you guys are sane. I love it here. I love it here in America. We riot whether we win or lose.
Well, we also have a bit of a higher population, so it's easier when you throw open a window and say, hey, everyone, riot, and it's not a vacant, snowy field.
Gotcha. Barty says, if we did riot, it's okay. Our healthcare would cover the injuries. Political humor. It's funny. So yeah, I'm really stoked about this. The NSL finals coming up. I had such a terrible experience trying to watch this though, because I missed it when it initially broadcasted. So I tried to catch the rebroadcast for the UK audience the next day, and that was the day that Twitch had that big crash.
Oh yeah.
And so I got right up to the Huck game, which is what I was really excited to see, and it's just like down. Like, no, I was so ticked. It was on my lunch at work, and I was not happy. Not a happy man. So,
but you caught some of these games.
Yeah, I caught Hero versus Ryung, which was not that impressive of a game. They both made a lot of mistakes. It was kind of odd. It was like watching like lower end Code 8 matches. At least that's how I felt. But it's nonetheless impressive for Hero because it was a best of 5, and he was down 2-0 right off the bat and came back, won 3 in a row and won the set. So.
Well, you got to wonder too what that crowd factor has on how well they play.
Crowd factor. This was played online, son.
That's what I'm saying. There is none.
Oh, gotcha. So they don't have the adrenaline rush.
Yeah, why bust my buns when I can win this game, 2-0 online with no one watching until later.
Yeah. And then I also caught BC versus Stefano, which was the game after that, right before the Huck game. And it was Stefano's he's on fire right now, man. That guy is a hell of a good player. Definitely, like the highlight of that was when Mr. Bitter in Game 2 was just yells, "What the hell is this push?" That I got a good laugh out of that one. So he just had this mass roach infestor queen push, and he was like off creep for part of it. It was the weirdest crap I've ever seen, but it worked. That was even the crazier part. So those are some good games. I'm really ticked I missed the rest, and I can't find VODs, but I'm not sure if they're up yet, or you might need the premium account. I forget. I haven't gotten a premium account. Sorry, NASL. So that was that. But the winners, the people going to the finals are Puzzle, Rhett, Alicia, Huck, Puma, MC, Stefano, and Hero. So I'm wondering if Puma can do it. You think Puma can win 3 NASLs in a row? MoleTrap, what do you think?
He's got the defender's advantage, I guess, a little bit. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Puma obviously does well at NASL. Seems to be kind of his. Sorry, there's like a couple flies buzzing around or something. I'm not making hand motions about Puma.
I thought you were jazz handing to your Puma monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Happens.
Let's hear it for Puma. I don't know. He's got some pretty significant competition at the finals there. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, he's also the only Terran in the finals. We've got
isn't he?
We have a Protoss overload. We have 5 Protoss,
oh my goodness.
2 Zerg, and 1 Terran.
Wow.
So,
Well, it's good that the Zerg that are there are representing. I mean, Rhett and Stefano. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the chat room said it absolutely correct. Terran's obviously OP. That's the only thing that could cause this.
Only explanation.
They're so OP, they don't even feel like playing.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah.
No, that means he only has 2 matchups to prepare for, and everyone else has 3, though.
That's true.
That'll be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyways, really excited for that. Watched some GSL Season 3, Code S Round of 16 happened this last 2 days, I believe. I got to catch some of last night's action. Obviously, you know me, I flock to Marine King games like flies to poo. So I was really stoked.
And remember, everyone poops.
That might be the title of today's episode.
Oh, no, please don't.
Or not. I might use my better judgment and not do that.
Poor MoleTrap coming on the episode you name about poop. Jeez.
Well, he's been on 2. Once you've been on 2 episodes,
True.
I officially can name it whatever the heck I want. Freaking last episode, when Wiggin was on 2 weeks ago, he had, asshole in the title of the show. So, but it was the second time, so I could put stupid words in his show title.
Really encouraging people to come back, Garrett.
Yeah.
Hey, if poop is the worst thing that's associated with me, I'll count that as a win.
Fair enough. Anyway, so needless to say, I was a little, I was left wanting after these Code S games because unfortunately Marine King did not make it through.
After Symbol?
No,
Symbol?
Okay, all right, not wanting for better games, but I was obviously
Okay.
I was disappointed that Marine King didn't make it through. That being said, I am a raging Symbol fan. The kid, he is so good. He's kind of the. I want him to win. I want him to take it. That's all I'm going to say. Kyle, obviously, you're the big Zerg fan. Has he, usurped DRG as your favorite Zerg?
No, but I haven't done my research yet. I mean, I'm not allowed to. It's a bandwagon right now.
You haven't done your research. Okay, is DRG more popular or?
Not like that. But I just mean like Symbol clearly is going to have a lot of new fans, but I don't really know his history.
Over yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you know anything about Symbol's history and kind of the GSL and all? Because this is really about as far as I've seen him go in recent memory.
He's a relative newcomer to the GSL scene, so I don't know much about him actually because I haven't been following GSL as closely lately. So I haven't done the research on him either. I'm not sure what he's about just yet. So it's not like I'm sure he's been lurking around and he's played a little bit in the team league, obviously, but he's only recently been making a splash. So
Yeah,
he still has to. Yeah, I mean I'm kind of the same way where it's like he might be good, but it's hard for me to buy into hype on new players because, like you were talking about earlier, I've seen so many people, be one-hit wonders and then just never do anything ever again. So I don't buy into them unless they have some consistency. So, once he's gotten to the round of 8 or round of 4 2 or 3 times, then I'll say, okay, well, yeah, he's legit. But in the meantime, sure, he's really good, but I'm not gonna expect him to win the GSL or anything.
Well, even if he does, he could have fruit dealer syndrome.
Yeah.
Just
Well, and that's kind of the thing about it too. Is this whole StarCraft 2 thing started off with a big win from a man who never really played again.
yeah, that's a very good point. I remember going to BlizzCon
Well-
that year, and they they had him do a show match, and I was so stoked. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get to see the GSL champion play a game, and it's just like, then as time went on, it's like, wow, that really wasn't that big of a deal because he's not that good.
Well, it's anyone who followed Brood War, who watched Brood War, watched the first season of GSL with their palm on their forehead because it was such a new thing that it was pretty obvious, that no one had really gotten the hang of it yet, just from the fact that just little stuff that if you're new to StarCraft and StarCraft 2 is your first esport, then you wouldn't necessarily notice, but if you've seen Flash do perfect micro and perfect macro at 400 actions per minute for 30 solid minutes, and then you see someone go in GSL Season 1 and they A-move a Banshee into the mineral line and it kills 2 probes, and then a Stalker walks up and just kills it, and they don't even cloak it, you're
Yeah, I'm having that same fear about Heart of the Swarm.
Point being, people were able to succeed with a lower skill level in the very beginning of StarCraft 2. So, yeah. But, Nesty is kind of the same thing, where he just kind of was someone who was mediocre in Brood War and did well in StarCraft 2, but he's actually picked up the level of things and stayed with it. So it's not always that way.
Yeah, indeed. What about MC? Did you get a chance to watch the MC versus MKP game, Kyle?
No.
MC.
Take it away.
MC's. I'm not gonna recap for you. I just think he's horrifying right now. He's playing really well, but it's with the stuff that just shouldn't freaking win, man. Just blink stalker, rushing to blink stalkers, but it works.
That's always been what MC has won with stuff that shouldn't really work, but somehow he kind of does.
Yeah.
But then Marine King's the same way. Marine King just does random stuff and wins too.
That's a very good point. He did become famous for doing crap that shouldn't work. Hence his title. But
if you guys saw the IM Seed game this past week against Empire Violet and then eventually against Liquid Tasia, man, that guy abuses the Warp Prism, and that's just getting scary. There was a couple weeks ago where we saw, a little bit of some Immortals jumping inside of a Warp Prism once in a while. Okay, that was neat. But now it's getting ridiculous. I hardly see a Immortal without a Warp Prism to micro with, and it's just frightening.
I
cool.
believe that. On the subject of Symbol, we were talking about just before, his Roach Overlord drops. His Roach Overlord of Aggression is awesome. he executes it so perfectly. So, yeah. Anyways, if you only watch one game from this entire group, go watch Symbol versus Marine King, because it was a hell of a series.
So what were the overall results again? Because I was actually. The notes that you sent me for the show spoiled a little bit for me already, so I might as well spoil the rest.
Yeah.
Because I was actually last night I just watched the first series of Squirtle versus Symbol, and I was going to watch the rest before I went to bed. So, so what ended up happening with the group overall?
MC and Symbol moved on. MKP and Squirtle got knocked out.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Yes, it is. I mean, Symbol's been on fire. MC's pretty consistent, but for whatever reason, I was kind of writing MC off. I don't think he'll do it, but he just tore straight through this group. So that's why as much I'm not a huge fan of his. As far as baseball's concerned, I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm assuming this is why everyone hates the Yankees. It's that kind of syndrome. It's he always wins, and it just makes me mad.
Hey, but some people always win you can't argue with, because MVP continuing to dominate this week.
Yeah, MVP is still going through, man. I'd like to. I wouldn't mind seeing him take it again. Although I definitely am rooting for Symbols since he's a newcomer. I'd like to see someone new kind of go to the finals and take it.
Share the love a little, MVP. Stop with all the ridiculous skills.
Yeah, exactly. You're making me choke on my laughter. Yeah, so that's cool. TSL 4 qualifier still going on. I haven't really had a chance to catch a lot of that yet. It's like going on during the day while I'm working, and they had the Korea qualifier today. I caught just a little bit of it. I caught Leenock versus Puzzle, which some really long games. Game 1 when it seemed to go on forever, but Puzzle ended up taking out Leenock. But yeah, Kyle, you sent me to the forums to go check this out. So big thanks to you, and big thanks to our personal, the StarCast.com's forums, for pointing us this video, the Illusions Bunker Micro video. That's kind of the hot jam right now over on Reddit and whatnot, I guess. You were the first one to see it and tell me about it, so why don't you take it away?
Well, I mean, it's disgusting.
That's a very good point.
I mean, it's really awesome. Have you caught this MoleTrap?
I watched it earlier today, and I may be able to brag in a hipster way about this, actually, because I think it was Illusion. I saw someone doing this kind of micro in like a tournament, like a smaller tournament or something like that, or a long, like 6-8 months ago, and I was like, wow, like that's cool. I just became I'm pretty sure it was Illusion, but now I'm not sure enough to be like, oh yeah, I knew about Illusion before he was on YouTube, yeah. But yeah, I've seen that before, and it's pretty beastly, and I just saw the video earlier this morning of that particular stuff, and it's really, really cool.
It looks like the freaking street performers who like have the cups and it's like follow the ball almost. Like he's got 3 bunkers just shuffling Marines around like super fast. It was go check it out. We have a link to it in the show notes if you're listening via podcast. Head on over to thestarcast.com and check it out. We'll throw that link in the chat room for you guys too.
Well, the scary thing about it for me, and what really impressed me about it, is I've played Blizzard's, micro challenge where you need to get a spine crawler to stutter on 2 stalkers, and it's not easy. This is something that physically not everyone can do. It really, as I said it, puts the pro in pro gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what can come out of this, because when things become no longer physically possible for people, you reach a whole new level of player.
I love how far you take stuff, Kyle, when you get really excited. You see this one thing and you're just like, oh my god, we're going to get to this point where it's physically impossible for certain people to do things. I don't think this is going to become meta. I don't think this physical limitation is going to become some meta portion of the game where there's only a few select people who can do this. But
no, but we saw the Brood War players play at MLG, and even there you could kind of see it. You could see their skills. It wasn't the best because they haven't had all the practice, but their attention to a single unit was amazing. And as we move into the future, this is going to get really frightening. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah. So, very cool. Boxer, who we mentioned a couple weeks ago, who is out of the GSL for the time being due to his shoulder issues. A recent article on, I believe, GameSpot, and I'm trying to follow the link to. I'm almost positive this is GameSpot, saying that he might be out of the game until Heart of the Swarm due to his injury, and he might even race switch, which is a pretty hot story this week. Yes, it was indeed GameSpot. So that was interesting. To quote him, he says, it seems like things are continuously getting worse for Terran. I might switch to either Protosser or Zerg. And he continues to say, I'm half joking and half serious, but there's no law requiring me to play only Terran forever. I think that being able to embrace other races easily is one of the pros of StarCraft 2. So is Boxer gonna pull a TLO on us?
I'm excited to see him come back. It'll be, it's a good time to take off. Heart of the Swarm seems to be on the horizon. And why not? And yeah, of course, come back as a different race if you want. I mean, basically, with Swarm Host, with Colossus, you kind of all have siege tanks now. You could adapt your skills from Terran to other races.
Yeah. And then, did you get a chance to watch Liquid Rising doc yet, Kyle? I actually have not. I've just not had time to sit down.
Oh, man, we're just making ourselves look horrible this week.
What are you talking about? I've watched a ton of freaking games. I haven't watched the Liquid Rising doc yet, though.
This has been a long time in the making, though.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. What about you, Noah? Have you had a chance to... Are we going to strike out 3 for 3?
Nope.
Ah, there it is.
He's out of there.
We're killing esports.
No, I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't had a chance to this week. So, sorry, I'm like distracted. I don't know if you're noticing. I'm like not paying attention. It's because I have.
Oh, he's back.
Yes, because when I.
Oh, continue.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, you were robotic, but you're good now.
Oh, yeah. My computer is old and.
And you're also in
doesn't work
Korea.
that well. No, it's actually just my computer. It's like. It's almost 6 years old or something like that, and it's been having issues lately. So, doing two things at once, I think, was causing it some problems. So I'm not gonna look at Chrome right now while I'm on Skype. But anyway, when I saw that, like I said, the 6 to 8 months ago, that bunker micro that someone was doing, I tweeted at them to tell them that they were doing a good job, and I was trying to find that tweet. But I have this little thing that lets me analyze my tweets and stuff, but I don't know if there's a way to search for tweets, unfortunately, to see if I. Anyway.
Oh, we believe you.
That's why I'm distracted.
We believe you, hipster MoleTrap.
Well, if it was an illusion, there was someone else who was doing it 6 months ago, so credit to them.
Yeah.
Whoever it was, but. Anyway, no, I'm planning on watching the Liquid documentary at some point this week.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. If nothing else, and it's pay what you want. We talked about this a little bit on This Week in Blizz on Monday, but it's pay what you want, which means free if you don't want to give any money and kill esports, or you can donate money. If you donate $5, you get a freaking cool poster. But I just thought it was interesting. This is also something we talked about earlier in the week. But some of the highest donators are Sundance, Evil Geniuses. Which I just thought was hysterical. Oh, hey, I just noticed this. Number 4 is our sponsor. SC2 Quote of the Day is the 4th highest donator. I did not see that before. So that's very cool. You guys should go check it out.
Throwing around the gun.
Yeah, that's such a fun website. And it's great when like stupid little dramas happen, like Stefano last week getting arrested because they had that awesome quote from In Control that I could harken back to when we were talking about it live. It's a good site. MLG Summer Arenas are going to be free, according to Sundance's Twitter. So this obviously excites a lot of people who don't want to, not necessarily don't want to pay. This obviously excites everyone because now, if money is tight, you can watch the arenas. This is really cool.
With those kind of numbers they're pulling, advertisers I think are going to start lining up.
Yeah. Well, as they already had advertisers, but now they're getting more. Now, we got a lot of the quotes from Sundance's Twitter. This originally came from him saying, feeling good about making arenas freemium. That's what he opened with. And everyone's just like, what? Wait, are you serious? And then he continues on, saying that between a sponsor and strong season pass sales for spring, this became possible. So basically they have some new sponsor. They haven't specified which, but this is allowing them to do free arenas. So, very cool.
Sweet.
Although, I like my HD, so I'll probably still get whatever the premium thing is. But that's me. You know me, Kyle. HD.
I know you. Yep.
We had a bunch of teams having new acquisitions this week. I was reading all the different news from the week, and it was just like team after team was acquiring new teammates and people leaving. First being a player named Protosser, which is such a terrible name because Tosser is in the name, and that's what I want to call him now because his name's so terrible. Tosser joins Mouz, and at the same time, Morrow leaves. Morrow's leaving the team. So Protosser he's 18-year-old and he's from Finland, and they brought him on because of his performance, I believe, in DreamHack Summer, because he beat Thorzane, who freaking won the last DreamHack. So that if that doesn't get you some recognition, I don't know what does.
Not to mention, you just go to a big game, you're 18 years old, and hey, you find yourself with a team. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very nice. And then Morrow's leaving the team, as I mentioned, and apparently they said it's a mutual agreement. They're just not renewing his contract.
Breakups are always mutual.
Yeah, breakups are always mutual. Yeah, exactly. Take that as you will. But now he's a free agent. Kind of curious to see where he goes from here.
Well, Grubby just got himself a new sponsor, so
Yeah,
from Team Grubby.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, Grubby from Team Grubby. Scarlett got picked up by Team Acer. fOrGG got picked up by Millenium. So, got a lot of new acquisitions this week. Scarlett, she hasn't done much since IPL4, at least not as big. She hasn't been making as big of waves, but that obviously was a really impressive showing. So it'd be kind of cool to see where she goes from here.
Yeah, I mean the grand state of the Acer team. Not really any big names, but I mean Scarlett, of course, very memorable for being who she is and for her performance there. So it'll be exciting to see what happens there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's about it for news this week, which means it's more or less the meat of the show. It's a shorter show this week, but it's been a quieter week, as Kyle, you mentioned at the beginning of the show. It's we didn't have any major finals or anything like that. But chat room, if you have any questions for MoleTrap or Kyle or I, feel free to ask.
If you want to waste your time with we got MoleTrap here. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's interesting to see this. There's been a lot of Koreans being picked up by foreign teams. I've noticed. You just mentioned that fOrGG. Is he going by fOrGG now, or is that just what people just know him as?
I'm not entirely sure. He's not one of the players I'm more familiar with.
Oh, okay. Well, he was going by Finn, OGS Finn before, so I didn't know if he'd switched back over or something like that. So to me, he's played really well in StarCraft 2, but he is, he was one of those one-hit wonders that I was talking about in Brood War. He won an MSL and never did a single thing that was noteworthy in StarCraft ever again until he joined StarCraft 2. So
Gotcha.
Not that I'm not a fan of the guy, but it's just like anyway. So, but I've noticed a lot of these foreign teams are picking up lots of Koreans the last several months, and I'm wondering if it's because they pay more, or if I know some of them are doing it just because they want to see the world more and be more active in the traveling around and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's my first assumption is, of course, you see the horror picture. Well, not horrific, but the bunks. You see the bunks. You see the basic trenches that some of these kids play in all day. And yeah, things are looking kind of sexy in a big old mansion somewhere else. But also, the fans, if you're a pro player, getting to go, just even when we got to see the Brood War players again at MLG, seeing those active American fans, that has to be worth something.
Yeah.
Discrax in the chat room asked if there was any more developments on the GESL craziness. Because last week we had Brent Ruiz from ESFI World on, who said that they were possibly going to sit down with some of the people from GESL and actually get the full story on everything that had happened. But no, nothing's come up on ESFI World, and nothing else has really been said about GESL. I noticed
that as well. Interesting.
Yeah, Destiny made a post about the whole debacle, but that was really all I heard after the fact. So.
Did you hear about all this, MoleTrap?
No, I was just going to ask. I heard that Destiny was going to cast, and then he wasn't. And then I saw that he made a post on Reddit, and I couldn't be arsed to read it because I don't really particularly care for drama that much. So I don't know exactly what went on there.
Yeah, apparently there was there were a lot of accusations thrown around. Some of them have been said to be true, but it's just interesting that after putting that out there, that this event was actively destroyed by the public, by people, overwhelming the servers and all this, to not hear anything after the fact when we're expecting to hear the facts come out was just odd.
Yeah. I agree. I don't want to get too much back into it because we talked about it at length last week, but you would think that there'd just be more like first of all, there's like no solid proof about any of this. No one has come forward with anything, but I don't know. It's been confirmed by multiple people at GESL. They just haven't given us like solid hard evidence.
Wait, what?
Sure.
What has been confirmed?
That they were like DDoS attacked.
Someone DDoSed them? Oh, okay. I see.
Like anytime they would go on like a live on 3 or State of the Game to promote the show, they would DDoS their site and stuff like that. And they were actually calling people who were in the tournament to tell them, "Don't come. The tournament has been canceled." So
That's weird.
yeah, and this is all stuff that GESL has said happened, but they didn't really go far into it. It got brought up for about like maybe 10 minutes on State of the Game last week, and that was it. So it seems like something that there'd be a lot more of a spotlight on.
Oh, I mean, it's mad scandalous. So.
But what can you do when Apollo gets a new haircut? I mean, look.
It's pretty important.
Yeah, exactly. So much more important than tournaments getting sabotaged. Okay, next question is Current TV asks, what do you guys think of GNN on GOM TV? Do we like the show? Think it could be better? I actually have not watched it yet. The only thing I saw is because Reddit is incredibly informative, and it was a picture of their attractive host. That was
Is it
all I
an
saw.
English show?
I don't know. Is it an English show? Maybe the chat room could tell us. I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, well, it's a great highlight reel, and I mean the crowd, the StarCraft 2 community has been really begging for a good highlights reel show. I mean, we talked last week about ESFI World and how their highlight reels have been doing super well over there. Now we have one from the source, from GOM TV, so it's really awesome to see a quick rundown of everything that's happened the week and the way it's cut up. Makes things look action-packed, as well as you get to see all the celebrations and scandals that happen. So it's a lot of fun. I think the heat that the attractive girl took, that's a little odd. Who cares if she's attractive? Actually, some very attractive girls are super into video games. So, you can't judge a book by its cover there.
No, but we've had that discussion on the show I don't know how many times now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is an English show, and she
Yes, it is in English.
The woman in the picture speaks English and talks about the clips or something?
I'm assuming so. I don't want to go too far into it because I'll just be talking out of my butt or waiting
Yeah,
for the
it gives
chat
a rundown of the week and all the matchups, and it's only about an 8-minute show and about once a week, so I think it's a good addition to the GOM TV network.
Yeah, I'd just like to repeat what my thought from last week. I would like a recap of some of the smaller tournaments, because it's very likely that I'll watch most of the GSL games, most of your MLG games. I want some of the smaller tournaments. Like GESL, I would have loved a highlight reel from that. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah, my experience with GESL was I watched a lot of the games and enjoyed watching them, and I didn't hear about any drama, so I enjoyed the tournament. So it's like,
Oh, it's nice that you actually tuned into it. Because that was another thing we brought up last week, was most of us had watched DreamHack instead of GESL. So.
I was watching a little of both at different times, but GESL I think was on at a better time in Korea for me. So whatever my sleep schedule was that week, I seem to remember watching it, being able to watch it more.
Yeah,
I did watch some DreamHack too, though.
Yeah. Party is asking us if we think Terran's underpowered, or are we just kind of overplaying it?
Oh, well, Boxer said it this week, so it's kind of a hot topic at the moment.
I was about to say, if Boxer brought it up, I mean, again, this is where we put the disclaimer. We are not pro gamers. But I'd say I think they're probably the weakest race at this point in time, but I'd also say it's probably the first time since the launch that we could definitively say that.
I wouldn't even say they're the weakest. I just think there's not too much left to explore. You can only really get I haven't been wowed by Terran in a while.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The idea has become, and as a Zerg player, the idea of a race outproducing and outmaneuvering you is an infuriating prospect. So I don't see any problems.
That's because you're happy that Terran are losing and there's only like one in the NASL finals. Yeah, you were raging after MLG Columbus.
Well, you know what would make me happy, Terrans? Use some strike cannons. They're in the game. I know they're not good.
They're not good. They're not going to use them. Why would you use something that sucks and should be taken out?
I don't know. Like, every single game, they're like, wow, they're really macroing. Oh, my goodness. Like, they've got every upgrade. You know what upgrade they haven't gotten? Even for kicks? You're getting like armor for your buildings, you're getting range for your turrets, and no one ever gets around to
Because if
getting...
you're going to do something for kicks, you're going to go battle cruisers. You're not going to go for the useless attack on Thors.
That's a good point Discorax makes. Make more Ravens. I really enjoyed the focus on Ravens recently.
Yeah,
it's a cool unit.
Yeah.
Who was it? Someone in a team league, I think. Who was it that made a bunch of Ravens the other day and actually got Hunter Seeker missiles? Gumiho made Hunter Seeker missiles and Ravens the other day in the team league, and it was that was pretty impressive. Except he oh god, it was so hard to watch. He made Ravens. He researched Hunter Seeker missiles. He had 2 starport Ravens, and I was like, yes, Ravens, Hunter Seeker missiles. This is gonna be epic. And the Zerg sent this entire army in. And they got funneled into this gap between 2 barracks at the front door, and there was about infinity Zerglings in a space about this big.
Oh no!
One Hunter Seeker missile could have killed the entire army of the Zerg that was going after him. What did he do? He flew him over and put like auto turrets next to the gas and killed the extractor in the Zerg's main base.
Hot dang! Extractor down. All right.
I was so disappointed. Later on in the game, he actually did use the Ravens to kill some stuff. Like in his last final defense, he actually did eventually kill some of the economy with drops and the auto turrets. And so he was like, well, maybe if I can kill this army, I can do it. And he had like 6 Ravens or something like that. And finally, as like this massive army was coming into his last remaining base, he Hunter Seekered a bunch of stuff, but I was just so disappointed. One Hunter Seeker missile would have killed literally 80 Zerglings. Literally. Like, I'm not even exaggerating that. That's how many Zerglings were all clumped up in this little spot because there was like an Ultralisk in the way and they couldn't all fit through.
Oh, geez.
Or something like that.
Oh, that's
it's
phenomenal. I missed that. I'll have to go see if I can't catch that on replay.
Oh, I catch Gumiho, the Tal Terran's games whenever I can. I really enjoy him.
Terran.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can be good sometimes, but also infuriating when he doesn't
use a Hunter
Seeker missile things.
Just do it. Go. I could just see you right now yelling at your screen and scaring your neighbors
while they construct.
Exactly. Yes. There you go. Someone's gonna drop a hammer, hit their toe. It'll be.
I was actually in the studio sitting with a couple of friends and yelling at them. Why isn't he Hunter Seekering those Zerglings? What's wrong with him?
Hunter Seekering, by the way, fantastic word. Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
So
We got a question from Captain Noobing here. MoleTrap, what do you feel is the big difference, or feel about LOL versus StarCraft? I guess the difference in the two communities.
or the conflict known as LoL versus SC.
Oh, well, so far, I feel like the League of Legends community seems maybe a little bit younger. Is kind of the impression I get.
Well, it's a
It is free.
I was about
Yeah.
to say it's a free game, and statistically, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and even insofar as like the players themselves, there was a team recently. Crap, I forgot their name. Their newish. Was it Dynamic or some other team? Anyway, they've gone to a couple tournaments recently where like, at DreamHack, like all their parents were there or something like that, or maybe it was MLG. All their parents were there because they're all under 18 or something. Anyway. But so it's still, and just as a community, they have some maturing to do, I think, in terms of, I don't know. I mean, it's just, the community hasn't been there that long. It hasn't been in the limelight that long, I should say, since it has been around for a couple of years. It's just recently been getting really popular, so they're still kind of finding their way. But at the same time, I feel like League of Legends is a less angry community too. Like, you don't have anyone like looking up the stats of Skara and like talking about all the things that he's done wrong on his Twitter for whatever. You don't see that kind of stuff quite as often. So
Do you feel
that's
like
kinda
that?
interesting.
Do you feel like that just comes with the territory of having a one-on-one game, though, where it's just you, it's not a team, it's not the group?
What do you mean?
Well, because it's a one-on-one game, everyone has to defend themselves. Everyone's got to, have their steel plating around their emotions. Because at least if you lose in LOL, like,
Maybe.
well, you can blame it on your team. It wasn't all me.
Oh, and boy, do they.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's actually it's interesting. One of the things that I've been thinking. People are trying to compare the Korean LoL scene to the foreign LoL scene, non-Korean LoL scene, because they've seen Koreans dominate at StarCraft, at Warcraft 3. Well, not quite as much at War 3, but people are like, okay, are Koreans going to dominate League of Legends also? And right now, it looks like they're going to do really well. And people are saying like, oh, it's because Koreans are imba, blah, blah, blah. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure that the Korean teams are better because they cooperate better. If you watch pro LoL players stream, most of what they do is yell at their teammates for being bad and blame everything on everyone else all the time. So, it's kind of interesting how that works. But anyway, as far as this whole SC2 versus LoL thing goes, though, I think it's ridiculous because I don't know. The people that are yelling are actually, I think, the minority, or at least they're not the large majority. I know so many professional StarCraft 2 players that play League of Legends for fun on the side. I know so many League of Legends players who follow StarCraft 2 scene. Like, there's not actually a division at all. Sundance, I got to talk to him briefly at MLG. He said he was talking to fans. What did you come out for? Did you come out for LoL? Did you come out for StarCraft 2? And a lot of people were telling him they came out for both. So there's not actually this big divide. It's just a few people that like to yell and make a big deal. They're the ones saying like, oh, there's this aggression between the communities. It's actually, there's a large chunk of the communities that's, in the middle of the Venn diagram. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as divided as the shouters want you to believe.
Yeah. Plus, there's so many people who are they're just chill about a lot of things. They enjoy both, and they don't really feel the need to defend either. So they're not the ones. The people yelling the loudest are just the negative Nancys that we brought up on the show. But yeah, chill out, people.
Chill out.
All right, choose your favorite child. MoleTrap. Noobing wants to know: do you have a preference between the two games?
I love both my children equally.
You politically correct.
I'll say that I have to admit that my heart still does lie with StarCraft a little bit, just because of the history that I have with it. I've been watching Brood War for 5 years. And if you want to really get down to it, Brood War is still my favorite game to watch. Deep down inside. But League of Legends is really, really growing though. I'm learning a lot more about it, and I've gotten to meet some of the teams lately, and so I'm starting to like it a lot more.
Well, very cool, man. Well, I guess that does it for today's episode. We've taken a lot of questions. We've more or less wrapped up the news from the week. So thank you very much all for tuning in. MoleTrap, thanks so much for coming back on, man. Before we leave, where can
always a pleasure.
Yeah, where can people find you?
Well, if you want to go on Twitter, I'm at MoleTrap. If you want to follow me there and see what I'm up to, I always tweet about what I'm up to for the most part. And of course, the League of Legends tournament that I'm doing right now is OGNLOL.com is where that all happens. And so you can check that out. And hopefully you'll be seeing some more stuff from me on OGN as well. Like I said, I'm hoping to get back into StarCraft. And OSL is going to be switching to StarCraft 2. Nothing's official or anything, but I'm hoping, personally, that's my desire is to go and end up casting for that too. Although I'm going to try and find a professional player as a commentator to cast with too, so we can have that involved also. So
awesome.
Yep.
Well, best of luck to you, man. Good luck out there. Anyways, thanks very much to everyone who's left us reviews in the iTunes store. If you haven't done so already, please head on over there, especially you podcast listeners. Leave us a review. It's definitely one of the best ways to support StarCast and help the show grow. You can get more StarCast over at thestarcast.com. That's the place to go for our forums, our archives, shirts, and more. You can catch us live Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at twitch.tv/amovetv. And you can email us at starcastshow@gmail.com or call us at 941-882-0281 with your questions, comments, or whatever you want to add to the conversation. You can follow us on Twitter at the StarCast. You can follow me at Garrett Art. You can follow Kyle at Kyle Ferguson. And big thanks to our production crew, Octane Pro and Captain Noobing, for their volunteer work. If you like what you see, if you want to hear more about the Blizzard world, you can check out Kyle and I's other show, This Week in Blizz, at thisweekinblizz.com, where we cover all of the news from all three of the major Blizzard IPs, Diablo, World of Warcraft, and StarCraft, because Blizzard owns our souls, and we like to talk about the other games. Kyle, where can people find you when you're not doing either of those shows?
You can find me over at Biggest Fan Podcast, where you follow the fad that's driving you mad. This past week, I was driven mad, literally, by Doritos. I was unimpressed by the Doritos Locos Taco. I thought it would be more salty, though I guess that's a good thing that it was actually bearable. However, looking forward to our 100th episode coming up, along with Abraham Lincoln Week, Batman Week, Olympics Week, Jason Bourne Week. There are so many awesome weeks coming up. You should check out that podcast over there.
Obviously not talking about the Jason Bourne or the Olympics if you're saying awesome.
I think they should film the Olympics with the shaky cam as people run down the
I think they should stab each other with pencils. Oh no!
Yes, that's it.
Oh no!
Oh no! So much action.
MoleTrap's having experiencing earthquake, or a mediocre fight scene. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, StarCastSystems.com, for the best gaming computers you'll find anywhere. Again, our code is StarCast or Biscuit. You'll get double memory on your next gaming rig. Go check them out over at StarCastSystems.com, and we thank them for their support. Thank you very much for tuning in for this week's episode of StarCast, and please tune in next week for episode 110, where LZ Gamer will be joining our show. We'll see you.
Sir.
Can I mention something else real quick?
Sure thing.
Go.
Sorry to interrupt your perfectly.
Oh.
Time I was actually on here, I ended up giving away a signed mouse pad. I don't remember who it was signed by. I think it was Lenok or something like that. I'm going to be giving away a mouse pad signed by Dongregu, actually, coming up soon on my Twitter. So make sure you go on there. And don't worry, I was thinking about it, but I completely forgot. But if I'm on again, I'll give away something else next time I'm on StarCast also.
Sweet, man. Thanks so much. I know Kyle's going to be following you like crazy now, trying to get that mouse pad.
I'm trying to figure out what to do. I want to do like a contest or something like that, but no ideas have particularly struck my fancy thus far. I may just cave and just do like a retweet random pick thing or whatever, but
maybe share that LOL love, like cross the communities.
give a StarCraft mousepad to League of Legends fans.
Well, maybe not that far. I mean,
Okay.
Someone who's a real fan of DRG deserves that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And to the guy in the chat room asking why we are on the same night as State of the Game, it's because they don't have a same night. They do it when they feel like it. I give up.
Oh.
I've tried scheduling around them. I don't know what to do anymore. Thank you for tuning in nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my own personal endorsement for LZ Gamer also. Make sure to tune in next week. He is a handsome nerd gentleman and a friend of mine, and you definitely don't want to miss out on him. He's a cool guy. He definitely knows his stuff.
Yeah. Tune in for that. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.